Hello students, welcome to our online teaching classes of Malangir Public School. Today I have come up with the very first chapter of history, class 9th. The name of the chapter is the French Revolution. So before we start the chapter, I am telling you just an overview or the introduction of the chapter so that you can understand in a very decent way. Okay, so every student you like to read history because it contains a lot of incidents which the students like very much. Yes or no? So here in history, revolution implies any event or process having the potential to change the society considerably. More importantly, a revolution brings about an upheaval or an idea. A revolution brings about an upheaval or a change in our ideas. You know, as Europe was in the process of coming out of the clutches of feudalism, monarchy, autocracy, and the church, the French Revolution marked an early step in the direction of the modernity. Dear students, you must have known the three principles of democracy. Those are the most important: liberty, equality, and fraternity, that form the backdrop, that form the root of all democracies today, were popularized by the French Revolution. It broke out in the year 1789. Okay? So here, the revolution transformed, this French Revolution transformed or continued to transform much of socio-economic and political scenario of the world. Okay, so dear students, in this chapter, the French Revolution, we will come to know different things. What are the different causes of French revolutions? How the French Revolution started? Which circumstances forced the people to carry on such type of a revolution in France? And what was the social condition of France? We will also come to know about the fury of the revolution, and again we will get a chance to analyze its influence on the history of, or its influence on the later historical events. And you know, this chapter is a very long chapter. This chapter contains 6 parts, and the first part of the French Revolution, that is French society during the late 18th century. French society during the late 18th century. Late 18th century, here we will calculate from 1780 to 1800. This is known as the late 18th century. And during the late 18th century, what was the condition of society in France? What was the condition of society in France? I am telling you one thing. Since a very long period of time in France, the Bourbon kings had been ruling over the country. The Bourbon king. Louis XIV, Louis XV, Louis XVI, everyone. And generally these kings were of fashionable nature. Matlab, that means they were leading very comfortable, luxurious life at the expenses of the state, without considering, without thinking of the plight of the people. Recklessly they were enjoying lavishly everything. Okay, so in such situations, in 1774, Louis XVI became the king of France. In 1774, Louis XVI became the king of France. At that time, he was only 20 years old. He married the Austrian princess Marie Antoinette. And when he ascended the throne of France, when Louis XVI became the king of France in 1774, at that time he saw that the French treasury was empty. Why the French treasury was empty at that time? So many reasons are there behind it. The first reason was, at that time, the French treasury was empty. So many reasons are responsible for it. The first reason was France had involved in the wars for a long period of time. France had involved in the war for a long period of time. So long years of war had drained the financial resources of France. First point. Secondly, added to this was the cost of maintaining, and I am telling you, this king, the Bourbon kings were very luxurious in nature, very fashionable in nature. They were leading a luxurious and comfortable life. They were maintaining extravagant expenditure, extravagant court at the immense palace of Versailles. Under Louis XVI, France had also held 13 American colonies in order to liberate them from the cluster of the Britain. The war had added then $1 billion livres to a debt that had already risen to 2 billion livres. Matlab, in order to meet all these expenditures, France had to meet on loan. It was taking loan from neighboring countries on interest at high rate of interest, that is up to 10% rate of interest. And it had taken 1 billion livres and 1 billion, you know, 1 billion is equal to 1,000 million or 100 crores. 1 billion is equal to 1,000 million or 100 crores. It had taken loan. The loan amount was 1 billion livres, and gradually it had become 2 billion livres, including the rate of interest, including the amount of interest, which became very difficult on the part of the king to maintain everything. So, in order to meet the deficit, so to meet its regular, so in such a situation, the French government was obliged to spend a larger amount of money only for the payment of interest of its existing loan amount. Okay, so in such a situation, not only paying the interest amount, the financial burden of France has not been over. Besides this debt burden, as the king, as the owner of the country, he had to conduct everything, running the government, running the different, to meet its regular expenses such as the cost of maintaining an army, the court, running government offices and universities and everything. The state was forced to increase taxes. At last, in order to meet this financial crisis, France, the king decided to increase the tax amount. But one thing at that time, a very important problem was a very harsh problem was there. All the taxes were being paid by the poor people. Again, I will come to you who were the poor people and third state people, everything. Yeah, even this measure, when the king decided to increase the tax amount which was levied by the third state people, it was not sufficient, and it created anger in the minds of the people there. Okay, so during this period, here I would like to tell you one thing, another thing. The French society was divided into three states. At that time, the French society was divided into three states. French society was divided into three states. The first state, second state, and third state. Under the first state were the clergy people who does religious activities or religious duties. Clergy people were most important people in the French society during this period. They were those people who does religious duties. Second, the nobility. Second category belong to the nobility, that means the aristocracy. The aristocratic people were coming under the second state, and the rest of the people in France, they were under third state. Rest of the people in France were under the third state. Okay, and again, the third state was subdivided into three layers. Again, the third state people in France were divided into three layers, and under the first layer of the third states were the big businessmen, merchants, court officials, lawyers, etc. And under the second layers of the third states were the peasants and artisans, and the rest, those were under the lowest ranks of the third states were the small peasants, landless labor, and servants. So these are the division of French society in the late 18th century. So here one thing I would tell you, the society of state was part of the feudal system. Here is another important thing, that is feudal system. What do you mean by feudal system? Feudal system. Okay. Feudal system means some important categories of people were there, like clergy and nobility. They were enjoying some facilities, like they themselves were collecting some taxes from the peasants for their own enjoyment. They were enjoying some facilities by birth. They were exempted from paying taxes. These are called, they were getting some protection from the king as they were working, as they were helping the king. So these first and second estate people were enjoying some feudal facilities. Or this system is known as feudal system, which was very harsh on the part of the third estate people. Here, the term old regime you know, regime means administration. Regime means administration. The old regime, the French society, whatever the French society and institution before 1789. Before 1789, the French society and institutions were called the old regime. Okay, so here all these things which were then you come to the point of the social condition of France. Social conditions of France for the peasants, out of the total population in France, the peasants constitute The peasants constitute 90% of the people. The number of peasants was 90%, rest were only 10%. But 60% of the land area, 60% of land area were owned by the first and second state people, and very important persons of the third state people. 60% land area. 60% land area were occupied, which number was just 10%. मतलब nobility and clergy, nobility or other important category of people of the third state to constitute only 10%, they had acquired 60% of land area. And the rest 40% land area were occupied by peasants. Okay? So here, however, about 60%, the members of the first two states, that is the clergy and nobility, they were enjoying feudal facilities, feudal privileges, like they were not giving any taxes to the state. They were collecting some taxes for their own benefit from the peasants or from the third state people. They were enjoying they were getting some protection from the king. These are called the feudal facilities. The nobles further enjoyed feudal privileges. These included all these things. And here also on the other hand, the peasants were obliged to, or they were forced to render services to the lords, or to work in their house and fields, or to serve in the army, or to participate in or to work in the building of roads or construction of roads, etc., etc. Okay, so here what sorts of taxes were being collected from the peasants? Here are two important taxes. One is tithe. Tithe, it is the name of a tax. It was collected by the church from the peasants. Tithe is a tax. It was collected by the church from the peasants, and it constitutes 1/10 of their agricultural produce. 1/10 of their agricultural produce was collected as a tax as per the system of tithe or tithe. Or certainly the church collecting the tax tithe, which constitutes 1/10 of their agricultural produce. Another important tax was there, that is tele. Another important tax, that is tele. This was also collected by the state directly from the peasants. So in this way, this was the, so all the tax burden or all the financial burden were being taken by the third state people in France, and they were living a very miserable life at that time. Okay. So here another point, that is then we will come to the point, the struggle to survive. The next point is the struggle to survive. Struggle to survive. When the third state people had to face such type of problems frequently, they started struggle for their own survival, for their own existence. The population, so here we will come to know one thing. So here one thing we will come to know, what is subsistence crisis. Before start this topic, the struggle to survive, here the question is coming to my mind. One is, that is, what is subsistence crisis? What is subsistence crisis? And how did it occur in France? And how did it occur in France? What is subsistence crisis? How did it occur in France so frequently? They say subsistence crisis, it is an extreme situation where the basic means of livelihood are endangered. That means when a person does not get anything to maintain his own livelihood or to maintain his own family, he is unable to maintain his basic minimum needs. This situation is known as subsistence crisis. And this situation occurred in France frequently. How it occurred in France frequently, I am telling you. That is, the population of France in 1715, the population of France was 13 million, and it rose in 1789, it rose up to 28 million. Listen carefully. You see, the population of France in 1715 was 23 million. It rose up to 28 million in 1789. On the one side, the population increased to a large extent. So the increased population, they demanded more food to take in, more place to live in. But on the other hand, the food production had not been increased by keeping pace with the increasing population. On the other hand, the increasing population demanded more food to take in, more place to live in. But on the other hand, the increase of the production of food grains was not keeping pace with the increasing population. As a result, people faced shortage of food grains. And when there were people faced it became shortage of the food grains, automatically the prices of food grains rose highly. So it became very difficult on the part of the people, and at that time, you know that bread is the staple food. Bread is the staple food of France. So people, like in our area, rice is the staple food here, bread is the staple food in France, and the price of bread rose to a high extent. Okay, and here also most workers were employed, whatever the different workers were there, they were working in different workshops, they were getting very less amount of wages or less salary. Although the prices of bread rose to a unlimited rose highly, but on the other hand, their salary had not been increased. It became the problems. For example, I am making it clear here. When a person was working in a workshop and was getting, for example, rupees 5,000. When he was getting rupees 5,000 as his salary, at that time, for example, the rate of wheat flour was 15 rupees 15 per kilo. Again, due to the scarcity of food grains, the rate of the wheat flour became 30 rupees or 25 rupees, 25 rupees per kilo. But on the other hand, his income remained the same, that is 5,000. It has not increased. So what would happen? Now, he would won't be able to purchase, this person won't be able to purchase the amount of food grain that he was purchasing before. So as such, he will eat less, he will be able to provide less amount of food grains to his family members. As a result, his family members will go without food, sometimes they will need weak porridge, diseases, and consequently death occurs. So in such a situation, what would happen? The poor became more poor, and the rich became more rich. So as such, the gap between the poor and the rich widened. As such, the gap between the poor and the rich widened. This situation is known as the subsistence crisis, something that occurred frequently during this world event. Such type of financial crisis frequently occurring in France during late 18th century. Okay, so here is another thing, that is another thing, growing middle class. So in such a situation when, and I am telling you one thing, it is the illiterate people. So who can identify the problem? Who will tell them to take revolution or to start a revolution against this situation? Who can know it? It is not possible on the part of the ordinary illiterate people. It is only the brilliant people, those who are intelligent people, those who are intellectuals, those who have philosophical idea. That means the different philosophers. So different philosophers at that time emerged in France. Different philosophers at that time emerged in France. They took important role. They played very important role. They brought a lot of changes. They identified the French philosophers. Different philosophers. They could identify the problems of the people, and they wrote down different inspirational writings. Through their inspirational and valuable writing, different French philosophers like John Locke, Rousseau, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and third one is Montesquieu. So at that time, in such a crucial period in France, important philosophers were emerged. Among them, important were John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Montesquieu. John Locke wrote a book. All these French philosophers, they wrote down valuable writings, and through their valuable writings, they bring awareness among the people, and finally, the people became warmed up and started revolt and decided to revolt against the king in France. They wanted to abolish the monarchical form of government in France. So what did here John Locke? So now we will come to know about the role of the French philosophers for the outbreak of the French Revolution. The philosopher John Locke, he had written once a book, very valuable book. The name of his book was Two Treatises of Government. Two treatises of government. It was written by John Locke, and in this book he had told that he wanted to refute the doctrine of the divine and absolute right of the monarch. In his book, Two Treatises of Government, John Locke directly denied the doctrine of the divine and absolute power of the monarch. On the other hand, Rousseau had written a book that is Social Contract. In this book, he had described that there should be good relationship between the people and their representatives. Rousseau. And on the other hand, another one, that is Montesquieu, had written a book that is Spirit of Lodge. Spirit of the Lodge. In the Spirit of the Lodge, Montesquieu had finally described and had made the people warn about that. The power should be divided into three organs. The power should be divided into three organs, that is legislative, executive, and judiciary. The power should not be confined in a single hand, that is monarch. The power should be divided horizontally, that is legislative, executive, and judiciary. Okay, so in this way, different French philosophers, and here this legislative, executive, and judiciary, this division of power, it is one important segment, one important aspect of democracy, and which started in the USA at that time. After the 13 American colonies in USA getting the freedom from British, they found the USA and they started the democracy, and they implemented these rules and regulations there. Okay, so in this way, the idea of these French philosophers, listen to me please. So the ideas of all these French philosophers were discussed everywhere, in different saloons, in coffee houses, and in other places where many people were gathering. Those were literate people, those were educated people, they could read and they could read and understand about it. But those who are illiterate people, they listen when these learned people, educated people read out this writings of the eminent philosophers about their life. These people became learned. They could understand very well about the cause of their life, about the cause of their misery, and finally they took a lot of steps in order to. And finally they became mentally ready and took steps to fight against the monarchical form of government. And in the next class we will come to know, we will discuss. Again I will come with you with the point that is the outbreak of the revolution. How did the revolution break out? But before stepping in, I am telling you some important questions here. Whatever we discussed here, there are some important questions here. First point was that is why was the French treasury empty when Louis XVI ascended the throne of France? Second question, what was the social condition of France in 18th century, late 18th century? Third question, what was the role of the third question, what is subsistence crisis and how did it occur in France frequently? And number 4 question is, what are the roles of the French philosophers for the outbreak of the French Revolution? Okay, again I will come with you the next phase, that is the outbreak of the revolution. Thank you all. If you have any problems, you can ask me in other classes. Thank you.